If you're failing in life right now, good. That means you're standing at the exact point where most people either break or rebuild. Let me tell you something no one wants to hear. Your problem is not your luck, not your background, not your enemies, not your haters, not the economy, not even your past. The real problem is your discipline. Because talent without discipline is wasted. Motivation without discipline fades. Dreams without discipline die. You don't lose in life because you're not capable. You lose because you're inconsistent. You start strong, then you slow down. You promise yourself change, then you negotiate with comfort. You know what to do, but you don't do it daily. And life doesn't reward what you know. It rewards what you repeat. Look at your habits. They are building your future silently. Every late wake up, every skipped workout, every hour wasted scrolling, every excuse you make, they are voting for the version of you that stays average. Discipline is not about being extreme, it's about being controlled. It's about doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it, because feelings change, moods change, energy changes, but discipline stays. And the people who win in life are not the most talented, they are the most disciplined. Right now, your results are a mirror. If you don't like what you see, stop blaming the mirror. Fix the habits, fix the routine, fix the standards you tolerate. Discipline means waking up when the alarm rings. Discipline means working when no one is watching. Discipline means saying no to distractions that steal your future. Discipline means choosing long-term respect over short-term pleasure. Failure is not proof that you are weak. It is proof that your system is weak, and systems can be rebuilt, but only if you decide that excuses are finished, only if you decide that comfort is no longer your master, only if you decide that average is no longer acceptable. So if you're failing in life right now, don't cry about it, don't complain about it. Don't post about it. Fix your discipline, because the moment you control your habits, you control your direction, and the moment you control your direction, your life has no choice but to change. If you're failing in life, the first instinct is to look outward. You look at your circumstances, your family background, your financial condition, the people who didn't support you, the opportunities you never received. You look at the world and quietly conclude that it has been unfair. And maybe it has. Life is not equal. Life is not equal. Some people start 10 steps ahead. Some people are born into comfort while others are born into chaos. But here is the uncomfortable truth that changes everything. Failure is rarely permanent because of circumstances. It becomes permanent because of a lack of discipline. Not talent, not intelligence, not potential. Discipline. The quiet, daily commitment to do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. Think about how most failures actually happen. They don't happen in one dramatic explosion. They happen slowly, quietly. You don't wake up one day and suddenly become unsuccessful. You skip one morning alarm. You delay one important task. You choose comfort one extra time. You say, I'll start tomorrow, again and again. Discipline doesn't break in a loud moment. It erodes in silence. And by the time you realize it, your habits have shaped a life you never intended to build. Consider someone relatable. A student who keeps failing exams. He isn't stupid. In fact, when he studies, he understands the material quickly. Teachers know he has potential, but every evening he tells himself he'll start studying after a short break. That short break becomes hours of scrolling, gaming, chatting. He promises to wake up early, but when the alarm rings, he negotiates. 5 more minutes. Those 5 minutes turn into an hour. Exam day arrives, and he feels stressed, unprepared, anxious. When the results come out, he says, I'm just not good at studies, but that's not true. The real issue was never intelligence. It was discipline. The inability to consistently choose what matters over what feels good. Now think bigger. Look at someone like J.K. Rowling. Before the world knew her name, she was a struggling single mother, living on welfare, battling depression. Her manuscript was rejected multiple times. From the outside, it looked like failure. But what separated her from millions of people who give up wasn't luck, it was discipline. She kept writing, she kept submitting, she kept refining her craft even when rejection letters stacked up. Discipline is not glamorous. It's sitting down at a table when you feel defeated and writing another page anyway. It's choosing effort over emotion. When you're failing in life, it's tempting to chase motivation. You watch videos. You listen to speeches, you feel fired up for a day or two. But motivation is emotional. Discipline is structural. Motivation depends on how you feel. Discipline depends on what you decide. And feelings are unstable. They rise and fall like waves. If your success depends on motivation, you will only move forward when you feel inspired. That means your progress will be inconsistent, fragile, unpredictable. But when your success depends on discipline, you move forward whether you're inspired or exhausted, whether you're happy or frustrated, whether anyone believes in you or not. Look at athletes. Take Kobe Bryant as an example. People admire his talent, his championships, his legacy. But what truly defined him was discipline. He was known for waking up at 4 a.m. to train before his teammates even thought about getting out of bed. He didn't rely on feeling motivated. He built a system. He trained when others slept. He practiced when others relaxed. That's what separated him. Talent may open the door, but discipline keeps you inside the room. Failure often feels personal. It feels like a statement about your worth. When you don't achieve your goals, you start doubting yourself. Maybe I'm not meant for this. Maybe I'm not good enough. But most of the time, failure is not a verdict on who you are. It's feedback on how you're operating. It's not saying you're incapable. It's saying your habits are misaligned with your goals. And habits are something you can change. Imagine someone who wants to get fit but keeps failing. Every month they promise to start a workout routine. They buy new shoes, new clothes, maybe even a gym membership. For a week, they're consistent. Then one late night happens. They wake up tired. They skip one workout, then another. Soon, the routine collapses. They look at themselves in the mirror and feel disappointed. They blame their genetics, their busy schedule, their lack of energy. But the real problem wasn't physical, it was behavioral. Discipline means showing up even when progress is invisible, even when the scale doesn't move, even when soreness makes you uncomfortable. It's the decision to prioritize long-term results over short-term comfort. Discipline is painful at first because it requires you to confront yourself. It forces you to admit that you have been choosing ease over growth, that you have been letting distractions control you. It's easier to blame the world than to take responsibility. Responsibility is heavy, but it is also empowering, because once you accept that your discipline is the issue, you gain control. If the problem were purely external, you would be powerless. But if the problem is discipline, then the solution is within you. Think about someone who grew up in poverty and still built success. Oprah Winfrey faced abuse, discrimination, and extreme hardship. By every statistic, she was set up to fail, but she developed discipline in her craft. She honed her communication skills. She prepared relentlessly. She showed up consistently. Up to testing. She didn't let circumstances dictate her work ethic. Discipline became her equalizer, and that's what discipline does. It levels the playing field. It cannot change where you start, but it dramatically changes where you finish. When you lack discipline, you become a slave to impulses. You do what feels good in the moment. You chase pleasure. You avoid discomfort, but everything meaningful in life sits on the other side of discomfort. Growth is uncomfortable. Waking up early is uncomfortable. Studying when you're tired is uncomfortable. Saving money instead of spending it is uncomfortable. Having difficult conversations is uncomfortable. Discipline is the ability to act correctly despite discomfort. It is emotional maturity and there's a powerful truth many people avoid. Your current life is a reflection of your repeated behaviors, not your dreams, not your intentions, your repeated behaviors. If you repeatedly choose distraction, you will build a distracted life. If you repeatedly choose laziness, you will build a stagnant life. But if you repeatedly choose disciplined actions, even small ones, you will build momentum. And momentum is powerful. Once it starts, it carries you forward. The beautiful thing about discipline is that it compounds. Just like interest in a bank account, small daily efforts grow over time. A person who reads 10 pages a day may not seem extraordinary, but in a year, that's thousands of pages. A person who saves a small amount every week may not look wealthy, but over years, that becomes security. A person who practices a skill for one focused hour daily may not look impressive at first, but after several years, they become exceptional. Discipline turns ordinary actions into extraordinary results through consistency. Failure feels heavy because it attacks your confidence, but rebuilding discipline rebuilds confidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen trust within. When you say, I will wake up at 6 and you actually do it, you send a message to your mind, I am reliable. When you commit to finishing a task and you complete it, you prove to yourself that you can depend on you. Confidence is not built by affirmations alone. It is built by evidence. Discipline creates that evidence. There will be days when you don't feel capable, days when progress seems invisible, days when quitting feels easier. That's where discipline matters most. Anyone can work hard when they're inspired. Anyone can push forward when they're praised. But can you keep going when no one is watching? Can you keep improving when results are slow? That is the dividing line between those who stay average and those who rise. If you're failing right now, don't see it as a final chapter. See it as a diagnosis. Your habits need repair. Your routines need structure. Your standards need elevation. Start small. Wake up when you say you will. Complete one task fully before moving to the next. Limit one distraction. Keep one promise daily. Discipline is not built in a dramatic transformation. It is built in quiet decisions repeated consistently. You don't need a new personality. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need endless motivation. You need discipline, the ability to choose what is right over what is easy, over and over again. Because eventually, those choices shape your identity, and once you see yourself as disciplined, everything changes. Your goals no longer feel distant. Your progress no longer feels random. You become intentional. Failure is painful, but it can also be a turning point. It can be the moment you stop blaming and start building, the moment you stop waiting and start working, the moment you realize that your future is not controlled by your feelings but by your habits, and habits are built by discipline. So if you're failing in life right now, don't collapse under the weight of disappointment. Stand up with responsibility. Look at your daily actions honestly, not with shame but with clarity, and then decide today to become disciplined. Not perfectly, but consistently. Because when discipline becomes your foundation, failure stops being your identity. In the mall, and the bother, it becomes your teacher, and your life begins to change not by chance, but by choice. Because here's something most people don't understand. Discipline is not just about achieving goals. It is about transforming identity. When you repeatedly act with discipline, you are not just completing tasks. You are becoming someone new. And once your identity shifts, your entire life follows. Right now, if you're failing, chances are you've started to label yourself in negative ways. Maybe you call yourself lazy. Maybe you say you lack focus. Maybe you believe you're just not that type of person who succeeds. But those labels were not born with you. They were built from repeated actions. If you repeatedly procrastinate, you start believing you are a procrastinator. If you repeatedly quit, you start believing you are a quitter. The mind builds identity from evidence, and the most powerful way to change identity is to change behavior consistently. Look at someone like David Goggins. He was overweight, broke, working a low-paying job with no direction. By his own admission, he lacked discipline. He made excuses. He avoided responsibility. He blamed circumstances. But one day, he confronted himself honestly. He realized the problem wasn't the world, it was his standards. And instead of chasing motivation, he built brutal discipline. He started running, training, studying, improving daily, slowly, painfully, consistently. He didn't become a Navy SEAL overnight. He became it through relentless discipline, day after day, when nobody was clapping for him. His transformation wasn't magic. It was structured effort repeated without neglect. And that's what discipline really is, the refusal to negotiate with your weaker self. Every single day, you have two voices inside you. One voice seeks comfort. It says, rest a little longer. Skip today. You deserve a break. The other voice pushes you toward growth. It says, get up. Finish what you started. Stay focused. Failure happens when the comfort voice wins too often. Success begins when the disciplined voice becomes stronger. The battle is not external, it's internal, and you fight it daily. Imagine a man who wants to start a business but keeps delaying. He spends months researching, watching videos, planning logos, thinking about strategies. But he never executes consistently. Every time he faces difficulty, he pauses. He tells himself he needs more preparation. Years pass. Someone else launches a similar idea and succeeds. He feels bitter. He says they were lucky, but in reality, they were disciplined. They took action imperfectly. They learned by doing. They showed up every day. The difference wasn't genius, it was consistency. Discipline eliminates overthinking. When you build structure, you don't wake up asking, do I feel like working today? You wake up knowing it's non-negotiable. Just like brushing your teeth, you don't debate whether to do it. You just do it. That's the level discipline must reach in your life. It must become automatic. And here's something powerful. Discipline reduces stress. At first, it feels restrictive. It feels strict. But in reality, it creates freedom. When you are disciplined with money, you experience financial stability. When you are disciplined with health, you experience physical energy. When you are disciplined with time, you experience productivity and peace. Chaos creates anxiety. Structure creates control. Think about someone drowning in debt because they constantly chase immediate pleasure. They buy impulsively. They spend emotionally. They ignore budgets. Over time, stress builds. Fear builds. But the moment they commit to disciplined spending, tracking expenses, saving regularly, saying no to unnecessary purchases, something shifts, not instantly, but steadily. Confidence replaces fear. Stability replaces panic. Discipline is painful short-term but peaceful long-term. Failure often feels like a mountain. Huge, immovable. But discipline doesn't try to leap the mountain in one jump. It chips away at it daily. One action, one habit, one improvement. That's why people who seek dramatic change often fail. They try to transform everything at once. They go from zero to extreme. They burn out. Enden dekenden tikenden time contenden tikenden tend. Real discipline is sustainable. It's not flashy. It's quiet repetition. There's a reason military training focuses so heavily on routine. Wake up at the same time. Make your bed. Train at set hours. Follow structure. It's not about control for the sake of control. It's about conditioning the mind to obey commands. When your mind learns to follow through without emotional debate, you become powerful. You stop being controlled by moods. And let's be honest, many people are ruled by mood. If they feel good, they work. If they feel tired, they stop. If they feel inspired, they push. If they feel bored, they quit. That emotional inconsistency creates inconsistent results. Discipline stabilizes performance. It makes your effort predictable. And predictable effort creates predictable growth. Look at Cristiano Ronaldo. His discipline with training, diet, recovery, it's legendary. Even after achieving global fame, wealth, and recognition, he maintained the same standards. Why? Because discipline is not a temporary tool, it is a lifestyle. When you become disciplined only when things are bad, you improve temporarily. But when you remain disciplined even after success, you sustain greatness. Now imagine applying that mindset to your own life. Imagine waking up every day with clarity. You know what must be done. You execute without drama. You track your habits. You measure progress. You eliminate distractions intentionally. Over months, your results begin to shift. Slowly at first, then noticeably. People start asking, what changed? And the answer is simple. Your discipline changed. But here's the hardest part. No one can build it for you. No one can transfer discipline into you. Not your parents, not your friends, not motivational speakers. It must be self-imposed. It must come from a decision deep inside where you say, I am done disappointing myself, because that's the real pain of failure. It's not what others think. It's knowing you could have done more. It's knowing you wasted potential. It's lying in bed at night replaying missed opportunities. Discipline eliminates that regret. When you are disciplined, even if you fail with peace, because you know you gave full effort. And let's talk about small beginnings. You don't fix your entire life in 1 week. You fix one behavior. Maybe you start by waking up at the same time daily, or committing to 1 hour of focused work, or exercising 3 times a week consistently. When that becomes stable, you add another layer. Discipline builds like bricks, layer by layer. Rushing the process weakens the structure. There will be resistance. Your old habits will fight back. Your mind will try to pull you toward comfort. That's normal. Change feels threatening to the brain because it requires energy, but every time you override that resistance, you strengthen mental control. It's like building a muscle. At first, lifting feels heavy. Over time, it becomes manageable. Eventually, it becomes part of who you are. If you study highly successful individuals across different fields, business, sports, art, science, you'll notice one shared trait: disciplined routines. Warren Buffett reads for hours daily, not when he feels like it, daily. Authors write even when inspiration is absent. Musicians practice scales repeatedly. Discipline is boring, repetitive. But boredom is the price of mastery. And here is something even deeper. Discipline builds self-respect. When you consistently follow through, you start trusting yourself. And self-trust changes how you walk, speak, decide. You stop doubting every move. You stop seeking constant validation. Because you know internally that you are someone who shows up. If you're failing right now, take a moment and ask yourself honestly, where is discipline missing? Is it in your sleep schedule, your work ethic, your focus, your financial habits, your health routine? Don't answer emotionally, answer factually. Look at your daily patterns. That's where the truth lives. Your future will not be shaped by a single breakthrough moment. It will be shaped by what you repeatedly do when no one is watching. That's why discipline is powerful. It operates in private but produces results in public. And one day, if you commit to it long enough, you will look back at this period of failure not with shame, but gratitude, because it forced you to grow up. It forced you to stop blaming. It forced you to take control. Failure becomes the moment you stopped being casual about your life. So if you're failing in life, understand this clearly. It is not a life sentence. It is a signal that your standards must rise, a signal that your habits must change, a signal that your discipline must strengthen. You don't need to become perfect. You need to become consistent. Wake up and do what you said you would do. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Repeat that daily. Protect that commitment. Guard it like your future depends on it, because it does. And slowly, quietly, powerfully, your life will begin to shift. Not because luck arrived, not because circumstances magically improved, but because you did, because you became disciplined, because you stopped negotiating with your goals, because you chose growth over comfort repeatedly. And that is the moment failure loses its power over you. Remember this, failure is not your identity. It is a signal, a wake-up call, a message that your current habits are not serving your future. The power to change has always been inside you. Every choice you make today, the decision to wake up on time, to take action even when it's uncomfortable, to follow through on the promises you make to yourself builds the life you've been dreaming of. Look around at the people you admire. Every single one of them failed. Every single one of them faced moments of doubt, fear, and rejection. What separated them from the rest was not luck or talent. It was the decision to refuse mediocrity, to embrace discipline, and to keep going when quitting was easier. That same choice is available to you right now, this very moment. Start small. Start consistent. Start disciplined. The results may not come immediately, but they will come. And when they do, they will transform not just your life, but your belief in yourself. You are capable of more than you've ever imagined. You are stronger than your excuses. You are the architect of your future. So take action today. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Decide that your life will no longer be ruled by weakness or indecision. Decide that your habits, your consistency, and your discipline will define you. Step forward with courage and let your actions speak louder than your fears. Your life is waiting. Your future is waiting. Your future is waiting. And the moment you claim your discipline, the moment you choose consistency over comfort, you will realize you were never failing. You were just preparing for the greatest version of yourself yet to come. Now go, build that life, one disciplined choice at a time.